What happens when a mother, abandoned after a fire, becomes the voice of thousands? No one expected her to turn the tables, not with rage, but with bricks and purpose. What she did next silenced even those who shut her out. Let me tell you something right now. I've always lived by one rule. If your hands still work and your mind's still sharp, you don't beg for a thing. I live by that. Worked 6 a.m. shifts till my fingers cracked like old lamp switches. And guess who built a house from the ground up, brick by brick, off a nurse's paycheck? Me. Baby, that was all me. My house wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Solid oak front door like you'd see in some old 70s movie, cherry red shutters I painted fresh every single year. That place smelled like cornbread, cinnamon, and my baby boy's childhood. I carried that child on my back when he had a fever. I wiped his tears, kissed his forehead, and paid for his college, while he strutted around telling girls he had a strong mama. Well, guess where that strong mama ended up 40 years later? In the back of a fire truck wrapped in a blanket like some sad little leftover, watching her house burn to the damn ground. And baby, it started out so sweet. I was baking pumpkin pie, the same kind my son James loved when he was 10, before he became a grown man, married to a woman with ice in her eyes and a voice like a disappointed teacher. They came to visit, him, the wife, and their noisy little kids. Renata, that's her name, walked into my kitchen like she was reviewing a motel. "It's so old-fashioned in here, Mrs. Walker," she said, like I was supposed to apologize for not having a marble countertop. Still, I smiled. I thought, well, at least they came. Maybe they'll see how I've lived, what I built. Maybe they'll feel something. This is the same woman whose kids got iPads in third grade because I worked triple shifts to help them out. Pie's in the oven, windows are open, air smells like nutmeg and quiet pride. Then I hear, "Mrs. Walker, can we play in the garage?" Of course I handed over the key. What am I, Grandma Batman? James? He heads down to the basement, says he wants to check the wiring, said it might be unsafe. Honey, I didn't know that my safety inspector was about to plug in some prehistoric space heater, leave it under a cardboard box full of Christmas lights, and forget all about it like he forgot the mother that raised him. 20 minutes later, smoke. Renata yells from the couch, "Are you burning something, Mom?" Like I'm a high school intern who left the toast in too long. I opened the oven. Pie was golden and whole, more intact than my faith in people. Then, flames, real flames, hungry, growling, like hell itself just RSVP'd to my living room. I screamed, rushed the kids outside, dragged Renata, who suddenly turned into a Broadway actress, hands in the air. "It's my fault. I turned on something. It's me." And James, standing there like a kid who got caught with his hands in the cookie jar. "Mom, I didn't mean to. It was an accident." An accident, huh? I sat in that ambulance, wrapped up like a burrito with frostbite, heart pounding in my throat, staring at the smoke where my whole life used to be. Not a room, not a closet. My whole damn house was gone. Everything I worked for, everything I saved, every memory, every prayer, gone. Like election promises 2 weeks after the polls close. And then James sits beside me, my son, my flesh and blood, puts a shaky hand on mine and says, "Mom, just stay with someone for a while, okay?" With someone. I turned and looked him dead in the eye. "Someone?" He looked away. "We've got renovations going on. The kids, it's hard sharing a room." You want to know what I said? Nothing, not a word. I just stared, right then and there. I didn't see my son anymore. I saw a grown man wearing my child's face, telling me that I no longer fit in the picture. I sat there in silence. But inside, something snapped. What happened next changed everything. You don't want to miss what came after this moment. Trust me, it's just getting started. You want to hear some irony? When I was a little girl and it rained, my mama used to hold me close and say, "Don't you worry, baby. You'll always have a roof over your head." Now here I am, sitting on a bench at a bus stop, in the rain. No roof, no sun. Oh, he's alive, all right, and living in a house with a mortgage and a driveway gate. I just don't count anymore. After the fire, they dropped me at a motel. Not a hotel, baby, a motel. You ever sleep on sheets that look like they gave up back in 1996, smelled like stale smoke, broken promises, and disappointment soaked into the walls? The girl at the front desk, eyebrow ring, attitude like I ruined her whole weekend, slid me a room key like it was charity. 3 nights covered by insurance, ma'am. After that, you're on your own. On my own? Sure, I only lost everything. My house, my clothes, my pictures, my memories, my legal documents. And now apparently I gotta bootstrap my way out of the ashes like I'm on a game show. I called James, My voice was steady, but my chest was trembling. Baby, I just need a place to stay just a few nights while I figure things out. Silence. The kind of silence that gets so loud you can hear your own heartbreak echo. Then he says, Mom, Renata's not comfortable. We're already stressed. I know you understand. Oh, I understand, all right. I understand that my daughter-in-law is worried I might accidentally teach her kids about decency. I understand that my son, the same boy who once told me I was the most beautiful mama in the world, now drives a Lexus, answers calls through Bluetooth, and can't find the courage to let his own mother in the house he peed his pants in as a toddler. I hung up. Yeah, I cried, and then I laughed. That ugly kind of laugh that comes right after your tears dry up. That new genre called My Nerves Got Nothing Left But Noise. Next morning, I went to the bank. Thought maybe, just maybe, they could help. The young woman behind the glass looked at me like I'd asked if hugs were accepted as down payments. I'm sorry, your credit score doesn't qualify for any emergency loans. I looked her square in the eyes. Sweetheart, your customer service score doesn't qualify for this paycheck, but here you are. Renting a place, please, no income, no cosigner, no cat with an Instagram. Only one real estate agent even looked at me like I was human, and he sounded like he'd been sick since 2003. There's a basement an hour away. Family used it for construction workers. Bit of mold, but it's cheap. Thank you, brother. Nothing makes you feel like furniture from a garage sale, quite like being offered a storage room with a pillow. I called James one last time. James, I'm tired. I'm not asking for luxury. I just need safety. 1 week, I'll stay out the way. He paused. Mom, I love you. I really do. But Renata's worried the kids will feel anxious. I know you get it. And right there, I stopped getting it. How does anyone get scared of their own mother? I hit end call and just stared at the screen, watched his name disappear, just like my house, just like my pie in the oven, just like everything that made me feel safe. All I had left was one small suitcase and a head that buzzed louder than the vending machine in the motel hallway. But you know what? I didn't fall. I sat down. And honey, that's not the same thing. What happens next isn't just another twist, it's the shift. Everything that's been quiet and painful is about to break wide open. Stick around, the storm's just about to start. Day 3 in the motel, I woke up to a fat fly crawling across my cheek. Not a metaphor, not some poetic image. A real fly. Big, slow, and acting like my face was its personal lounge chair. I swatted it away and sat up thinking, so this is what retirement looks like in the land of gratitude. Then the phone rang. James. For a second, I thought maybe his conscience had finally clocked in. Hey, Mom. So, Renata and I had an idea. Oh, Lord. When those two put their heads together, it's like mixing taxes with cold medicine. Nothing good comes out of it. So, my mother-in-law, she's got a spare room down in Louisiana. She said you could stay if you keep things quiet. If I keep things quiet, you hear that? If I don't breathe too loud, if I don't cough, if I don't accidentally say the words, I used to own a home, then maybe, just maybe, I can get a cot in a stranger's basement. I asked him straight up, James, where were you when I was scraping burnt rice out of pans with a spoon so you wouldn't go to school hungry? He didn't say a word. Then finally, Mom, you're being dramatic. Dramatic, that's what they call it now. When your house burns down and your own son tells you to go beg for space somewhere else. Later that night, there's a knock on my door. It's Shirley, my neighbor from 2 doors down. You know the type. Looks like she's one stubbed toe away from cussing out the clouds. She leans in and says, You ain't from around here, are you? No, ma'am. Well, that means you're out tomorrow. Manager don't like people with no family backing them up. Then she shuffled off in fuzzy purple slippers and someone else's heartbreak. I stood there in the doorway watching her waddle away thinking, what chapter of life is this? Where the other broke folks are telling you to pack your bags. You want to know what I did next? I sat on that tired motel bed, pulled out the one thing I saved from the fire, a graduation photo of James. He looked so proud, my baby, my boy, my reason. Then I pulled out my phone, opened Facebook, and posted exactly what needed to be said. No filter, no fluff, just truth. My son accidentally burned down my home. I saved his kids. He wouldn't let me stay with him. I'm 68 years old, and I'm done being quiet. Can someone tell me where I'm supposed to find a roof when I gave mine to someone who's now ashamed of my wrinkles? An hour later, 4 comments. 3 hours in, 89. By evening, 400. One woman from Chicago wrote, Sister, you're not alone. My son didn't even show up to his father's funeral. We have to start speaking out. I stared at that screen, and I could feel it. Something inside me boiling, like a kettle that's been simmering too long, and finally says, I'm not going to whistle. I'm going to scream. Then James saw the post, and instead of calling me, instead of saying, Mom, I'm sorry, he left a comment. Mom, please take this down. It's private. You're making the family look bad. Making the family look bad? Sweetheart, no. Looking bad is when you hide from your mother like a child under a table because you're too scared to face what you did. I gave him my everything. He gave me silence. I gave him shelter. He gave me go be someone else's problem. Now, you've seen the temperature rising, but trust me, we're only halfway to the boil. What comes next? That's the explosion. The moment it all breaks loose. Stay close. You're about to witness a turning point you won't forget. Next morning, knock on the door. I open it up, motel manager, mid-40s, face twisted like he just bit into a lemon, and realize that was his last slice of dignity. Mrs. Walker, your insurance coverage ended. Today's your last day. I looked him straight in the eye. So who's kicking me out tomorrow? The Lord himself? Or are y'all gonna tag team me? He didn't smile. People don't smile much when they see you as nothing but a name on a bill they don't want to carry. So I packed up my things, one bag, one thermos, one Bible. I wasn't praying for salvation anymore. I was praying for clarity. And you know what came to mind? If I'm all I've got, then I'm all I need to make decisions. I walked out, no map, no plan, just a heart that said, forward, first stop, social services. You should have seen the look on the intake woman's face. That you don't belong here kind of glance, like I just dropped confusion on her desk. You have an adult son, right? And family? Why are you here? I didn't flinch. Because my family is a photo in my phone, and in real life, I'm invisible. She shrugged, the kind of shrug that says, not my department. We'll see what we can do. Expect a follow-up call. A follow-up call. Like I had just signed up for promo emails from a department store. But then a woman slid into the seat next to me in the waiting room. Her name was Sandra. You that lady from Facebook? Yeah. I read your post. You said what the rest of us been scared to say. My best friend's in the same boat. Her son won't even let her wash dishes in his house. Says she'll mess up the energy. We laughed. Not the polite kind, the bitter kind, the kind that bubbles up when your heart's too tired to cry again. Then I heard something that flipped my whole world upside down. James, my son, posted a video on TikTok. Him and Renata sat up there looking noble, talking about how they survived a fire and helped Grandma find a safe place to live. Helped! Helped! I was living under a 24-hour coffee sign, sipping instant creamer from a plastic lid. And they out here collecting likes like coupons at Sunday service. Comments rolling in, you guys are such an inspiration. Family is everything. Family? Baby, their definition of family got less substance than sugar-free soda. I hit report, then I hit comment, and I wrote, you forgot to mention that Grandma sleeps on a bus bench and drinks hotel lobby coffee from a paper cup. But hey, good luck with your hashtags. And then, for the first time in weeks, James called. Not a text, not a comment, a call. Mom, what are you doing? You're gonna ruin my career. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't break. I said it calm and clear. Son, you already ruined my life. Your career? That would just be the natural next chapter. And I hung up. That was it. He wasn't my son anymore. He was a stranger in my bloodline. But that moment, that click of the phone, that was my real beginning. I realized I'm done asking. I'm done waiting. I'm done shrinking. I will go where a Black woman with gray in her hair and fire in her voice can be heard, where I'm not somebody's mom in the background. I'm a full person, with history, with rage, with every right to speak and every right to rebuild. This is the turning point, the moment everything snaps into focus. The final chapter, it won't be revenge. It'll be a reclaiming of dignity. Stay here. Watch how this woman takes back everything that was stolen, and then some. 2 weeks after that last phone call, I stood at the doors of a local radio station. In my hand, a printed copy of my viral post. In my heart, everything the fire didn't burn, the betrayal, the rejection, the truth they tried to bury. I didn't come to beg. I came to be heard. I walked in, looked the receptionist in the eye, and said, y'all say you tell real American stories? Well, I got one. And it doesn't get more real than this. They gave me 10 minutes on air. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I told it straight. From the beginning, from the pie, to the fire, to the front steps of nowhere. And when I spoke, the whole room went silent. That real kind of silence, where people finally hear the story behind the smile of a mother who gave everything and got pushed out of her own life. Next day, I got a phone call. Mrs. Walker, we'd like to help. We're a nonprofit that builds housing for older folks who've been displaced. We heard your story, and we believe you shouldn't just survive. You deserve to live. I thought it was a prank, but no, people listened, and then they showed up. 2 months later, I held a brand new house key in my hand, a yellow cottage, bright as sunshine after a storm, with a porch swing, a little garden, and a nameplate by the door that read Marion's House. And guess what? A local paper ran my story. Elderly woman in Memphis inspires a nation. People across the country started donating, not to me, but to others like me. I became the face of a movement, the voice for every mama who got left behind. One day, I turned to the nonprofit and said, if there's another lot, let's build a second house for someone else like me. They didn't hesitate. Absolutely. And just like that, I built 2 homes, one for me, one for a woman who's still waiting to be seen. Then James showed up. He didn't text. He didn't call. He came in person, stood outside the gate like a boy on his first day of school, unsure, head down. Mom, I didn't know how to fix it. I looked at him, long, quiet, not angry, just done. You didn't know how. Sometimes, son, all it takes is saying I was wrong, I was selfish, and then stepping aside. He stood there, said nothing, dropped his head, and walked away. Did it make me feel better? But it made me feel something far more powerful, peace, because I knew I didn't lose. I stood my ground. I told the truth. And I built more than walls. I built a message, a monument, to every woman who's ever been told, there's no room for you here. Now I have my answer. I made my own room, and I left the door open for the next one. This ain't a story about revenge. It's a story about becoming visible again, about how a woman the world tried to forget became the spark for 1,000 more to stand up. A burned house didn't end my life. It began a new one. And if you're sitting in the dark right now, wondering where you belong, just remember, you're not a shadow. You're the light.